really young, what was it that made you, that hit you and thought, you know what, this is what I want to do, this is who I want to be?
When Wu-Tang Forever came out, I was 13. If you really wanted me to pin the point, I was writing lyrics from really young, 6, 7, 8 years old, because we used to perform for my mum, me and my sister every birthday, but I'd say when Wu-Tang Forever came out, that was the defining point where I said, this is what I want to do. 1997. I can't remember the exact date, to be honest.
Yeah, basically I've written a book on hip-hop, interviewed you a while back, but what I've realised is the more important you get in terms of artists saying a message, it's like the more danger they're in terms of the established powers that watch over them. So can I ask you a personal question in terms of, has anybody approached you in that way, or not saying that you have to look over your back, but have you ever had any trouble in that way?
No. Me personally, if I'm honest, no, I've not had the visit that people talk about. You know, I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there. When you think someone visits you and says, listen mate, if you don't stop saying that, you saw what happened to John Lennon, didn't you? Do you really think that was just a fan in Times Square? I don't know. All I'm saying is, I know a lot of us, we use this term conspiracy theory, but I think if we're honest and we look at it, you know, someone did try to kill Bob Marley before he got this mysterious form of toe cancer. So the idea that maybe that wasn't an accident isn't some ludicrous conspiracy theory. He got shot in the heart. It's not like he didn't get shot, do you know what I mean? People were trying to kill him. He had to move to England because of it, and then he gets this funny, funky toe cancer. I'm not saying that that wasn't cancer. I'm just saying that you might have a point, you know, Jimi Hendrix, John Lennon, Bill Hicks, George Carlin, Muhammad Ali gets Parkinson's. People would have us believe it's all coincidence, and I'm not saying it's not. Michael Jackson, you know, when his music was all kind of funky and poppy, it was cool. When he started making songs like They Don't Really Care About Us, and Remember the Time, I'm not saying Michael Jackson didn't do it. I don't know, I wasn't there. I'm just saying, I think there is a valid discussion to be had. I mean, I think a better example for right now is Kanye West. When he came out and said George Bush doesn't like black people, ask him what the reaction was. You know, he lost millions of dollars, sponsors dropped out, he got loads of stick. I mean, the news made him apologise the other day. So it's not controversial to say that artists with a particular power and a particular stature certainly have pressure on them to conform. I don't personally feel I'm at that stature yet, and I don't know if I ever want to be for exactly that reason, to be honest. People always ask me, oh, but why aren't you more famous? You're so talented, you should blow. Maybe I don't want to. Maybe I don't want to be on MTV 100 times a day, because maybe exactly what you're saying is true. Maybe when you're Lady Gaga, you're not free to say whatever you want. I can't answer that for you. All I know is I want to stay free to say what I want to be able to say. And if that means I've got to be at this level with people that I like and that I know are into the message for the rest of my life, I'm cool with that. And this really is the last two. 1, 2.
Yeah. If you were a rapper / poet, what would you be doing?
I don't know. I opened a restaurant when I was really young. I might have been a footballer. I used to play football. I actually saw my anyone follow football here? So I presume you all know who Glenn Johnson is, right? Yeah. I saw him this morning in Liverpool, but he actually used to be captain of my team when I was at West Ham. And so it was really interesting, like, seeing the direction all those guys have gone in. And it wasn't really for me, but I feel like when I look at the guys that made it, a lot of them were people that actually had that father figure there all the time to drive them to training and all of this kind of family setup. There's a myth that football's, you know, a way out of a way out of being really working class. It's not, for the most part. The kids that make it actually are the kids that have, I wouldn't say they're middle class, but they certainly have a much more secure family structure. Dad's there to drive you to training, mum knows the coach, etc. And I found that support network, even in football. Unlike in France, they have an academy where they take all the kids from the working class neighbourhoods and they put them in this academy from like 12. Henri went there, Trezeguet went there, Zidane went there. Half the French football team went to this academy. They were taken out of their neighbourhood. We don't have that here. And so maybe I'd have been a footballer if I had that guidance, because football was my first way out. But then I just decided at 16 I wanted to be a rude boy instead. Things went wrong for me for a little while. Last one.
Do you think patriotism cheats blonde people?
Sorry, pardon?
Do you think patriotism cheats blonde people?
Yeah.
Some of my mates, someone in the football, they've been stood up and that means stand up because they just get angry.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that patriotism is completely used to blind people. If you look at the history of the way working class people, British working class people, have been treated in this country, I mean, it speaks for itself. It's not my opinion. I'm not going to tell you what did and didn't happen. Go and look at it. What I would say to people is ask yourself, when politicians agree to wars, if they're happy to send your kids, surely they should send their own too. I'm not going to question whether or not their wars are righteous or unrighteous for now. Let's say, you know, for argument's sake, the wars are righteous and they agree with them. Surely, if you can die, so should their children be able to die. That's all I'd say, you know. If you believe in it, no problem. If you think it's just, no problem. Send your own kids too. And if people are not sending their own children, then that's patriotism at work, isn't it? It's convincing you, well, you're English, you should die for England. And even though I'm English, and I'm the one signing off on the war, I'm not going to die, I don't fancy it. It's not for me, it's not for my kids. It's not for kids who go eating, it's for you lot. And so I think in that way, yeah, I think, and I find it quite sad. I have a lot of those conversations with working class people, and this belief that, you know, we're part of this club blinds us to what's, in my opinion, what's actually going on. So yeah, I would say that you probably have more in common with, you know, some of the Asian or Caribbean people in this room than you do with the rich kids who go to Eton. You know, they probably wouldn't talk to you if you went to Eton, you know. Who are you? What are you doing here? But the people in this room might be nice to you. But this idea that we're separate and we're different, well, really, you know, when I go to my mum's family's from Scotland, when I go to some of the estates in Scotland, it doesn't seem drastically different from Handsworth or Peckham to me, you know. It seems like the same thing, but just different looking people. So yeah, I would say that. We really do have to wrap up now. So, love you guys.